Welcome back, everyone, and today we have a story that is stirring every corner of Cowboys Nation, one that touches on leadership, resilience, and the delicate balance of decision-making in the NFL. After an off-season filled with anticipation, after weeks of excitement surrounding the Cowboys' new era under Brian Schottenheimer, the very first loss under his watch has raised questions, ignited conversations, and put the new head coach in the spotlight like never before. But in true Schottenheimer fashion, he's not hiding behind cliches, excuses, or soft answers. He's keeping it real, delivering the kind of honest insight that not only gives fans a window into what's really happening inside the star, but also shows why he was hired in the first place to steady this team, to lead through chaos, and to make the tough calls when the season throws its first big punch. From the moment the final whistle blew, this loss didn't just mark a number in the standings. It carried with it the weight of expectation. A team with one of the league's most talented rosters, a defense that had been terrorizing opponents, and an offense expected to hum with precision, stumbled at a critical early checkpoint. Fans weren't just disappointed, they were looking for answers. And Schottenheimer didn't dodge them. Standing at the podium, his tone was calm but serious, the kind of voice you hear from a leader who's been through the grind and knows that one game doesn't define a season, but every game defines how a team responds. He acknowledged the mistakes, detailed what went wrong, and more importantly, laid out how they're going to fix it. One of the biggest talking points from this loss wasn't just about the X's and O's. It was about decisions: who played, who sat, and whether holding certain key players out was the right move. This is where Schottenheimer was at his most candid. He addressed the conversations head-on, explaining why some veterans were kept on a pitch count or not used in high-stakes moments. It wasn't about underestimating the opponent, and it wasn't about sending a message. It was about the long game, protecting players for the marathon that is the NFL season. It's a philosophy that doesn't always sit well with a fan base eager for dominance every single Sunday, but it's rooted in something every championship team eventually understands. You can't win a Super Bowl in Week 1, but you sure can lose the chance to if you're reckless with your roster. Of course, no topic looms larger than the rivalry game ahead: the New York Giants. For decades, whenever these two franchises collide, it's more than a football game, it's a statement. And with the Cowboys now carrying the sting of a first loss under a new head coach, the stakes feel even higher. Schottenheimer spoke openly about the emotional and tactical preparation for this showdown. He wasn't shy about admitting that the Giants pose a very different challenge than the team they just lost to. He broke down how this next matchup will demand sharper execution, cleaner routes, and above all, mental toughness. It's not just about fixing mistakes, it's about resetting the tone of an entire locker room. Schottenheimer's demeanor has already started to resonate with players, many of whom have spoken privately and publicly about appreciating a head coach who tells them the truth without sugarcoating it. In the world of professional football, where egos can run as hot as the Texas sun, having a leader who doesn't dance around accountability is a rare and valuable thing. He's made it clear: no one is above correction, no unit is exempt from criticism, and no loss will ever be buried under empty words. It's a refreshing change of pace, and it's one that could quietly be setting the foundation for a team that peaks when it matters most. Beyond strategy, there's the psychological warfare of a long NFL season. A first loss can fracture confidence, or it can fortify resolve. Schottenheimer seems intent on making sure it's the latter. He's challenged his team to embrace the lessons, to acknowledge that this is the league where the margin of error is razor thin, and where good teams become great by how they respond to adversity. He reminded everyone, players, staff, and fans, that no Lombardi Trophy has ever been hoisted in September, but plenty of champions have been forged in it. The message wasn't about excuses, it was about process. It was about a team learning its own identity through fire. This candid approach extends beyond the locker room. When asked about critics questioning the choice to sit certain players, Schottenheimer didn't deflect. He explained the calculus in detail, how certain injury histories, practice workloads, and matchup-specific strategies played into those calls. He acknowledged that second-guessing is part of the job and even welcomed it, saying that if no one cared enough to question those choices, the Cowboys wouldn't be in a city that lives and breathes football. That level of transparency is rare in the NFL, where so many coaches hide behind vague terms like situational decisions. Schottenheimer chose honesty, even knowing it would draw more scrutiny, and that says everything about his leadership philosophy. Looking ahead to the Giants, the story isn't just about bouncing back, it's about defining what this team will become under new leadership. Every era in Cowboys history has its inflection points, those games where narratives shift, where players buy in or tune out, where the fan base sees whether the head coach has the kind of backbone that holds up under pressure. This upcoming game could be one of those moments. When convincingly, and suddenly the first loss looks like an early season adjustment. Lose again, and the conversation turns from strategy to stability. Schottenheimer knows it, and you can tell in the way he addresses both players and press. The urgency is real, but the panic is not. Fans are already dissecting every word, every facial expression, every roster decision heading into this week. And that's part of what makes Cowboys football so electrifying. Every move feels like it carries the weight of a season. But amid the noise, there's something quietly steady about how Brian Schottenheimer is steering this ship. He's not trying to win the press conference, he's trying to win the locker room. He's not performing for headlines, he's preparing for December and January. And that may end up being the very thing that defines this tenure, not how he reacts to a single loss, but how he uses it to shape the battles ahead. The NFL season is a storm of highs and lows, and right now the Cowboys find themselves in a valley, not a pit. The difference matters. The playmakers are still there, the schemes are still lethal, and the hunger hasn't gone anywhere. But now comes the test. How do you channel disappointment into determination, and how do you do it with the whole football world watching? Schottenheimer's answer is simple: through honesty, through preparation, and through belief that this team's best football is still in front of it. So as the Cowboys prepare to take on the Giants, all eyes will be on the sidelines, on the players who sat, on the adjustments made, on whether the first taste of adversity becomes the first sign of growth. Brian Schottenheimer has made it clear there are no shortcuts, there are no excuses, and there are no illusions about what it takes to win in this league. The question now is whether the team will rise to meet the standard he's setting, or fall back into the familiar cycle of flashes without follow-through. Cowboys Nation, buckle up, because this is where it gets interesting. The season isn't decided yet, not even close. But what happens next will tell us everything we need to know about this team's heart, its leadership, and its future under a coach who isn't afraid to keep it real when it matters most. If you're ready to ride through this with us, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more in-depth Cowboys coverage, and stay locked in as we break down every twist and turn in this roller coaster season ahead.